Pat, how would you summarize this season in which it felt like maybe a career year for you?
Yeah, I mean, I evaluate it more on a team level. So just up and down, injuries got us. So frustrating year that way for us, but the collective group competed. You take away top two players on any team in the NBA, it's going to be a pretty long year for anybody. So thankful for the opportunity here to come in and compete. Tried to make the most of it and just really enjoyed the group of people and the group of guys that we had here this year, even though it was a bumpy year.
To that point, like the grit and the fight that you guys had when all these players were down, what was that like being in that grit and fight?
Yeah, I think it's who we are. It's who I am for sure. And I can go to war with these guys, any day of the week. So, just like I said, I think we competed. We weren't a fun outing, for anybody, even though we might have been a little bit undermanned. But that's the name of the game. You lose your top two stars, it's going to be tough to compete at a championship level. So, we'll see where it goes from here. But just thankful for the group that we had and how we competed.
Hey, Pat, over here. From an individual point of view, what are the things you liked about your development this season, and what are the things you say, okay, you need to go back this summer and maybe work on this, that, or the other?
Yeah, shot the ball much better from the three this year. Found something about halfway or 2/3 of the way through the year, just mechanically that I really liked for my shot. So an all-time high confidence-wise with that. Want to get better off the bounce with it. But just really, really grateful for the extended minutes and the opportunity to get on the floor and get in a flow and have a little bit of a rhythm that way and find some things out about my game. And for me, it's about defensively being able to take on the challenge of maybe some high-level guards in order to get on the floor next to a guy like Steph or some superstars that have the ball in their hands a little bit more. You got to be able to do some other things. And so, I think I can operate in a pick and roll pretty well and do things of that nature, but defending at a high level is something that's going to be able to keep me on the floor.
There's a lot of speed in lacrosse. NBA speed, quickness, different?
Yeah, different. And I played all offense in lacrosse, so just had to get my body back in shape after that 1 year at Northwestern to be able to defend at a high level. My body feels great right now, but there's always a next step you can take as far as learning from high-level defenders like Dre, even a guy like Melt's really good on the ball. So just taking some pointers and then taking on that challenge in the offseason to go defend some high-level guys and compete. So that's really where my focus is.
Steph and Draymond, everyone who's come up here has talked about what Steve's meant to them during their career. Just for you, what has Steve meant for you in your career, and what has it been like, I guess, the last few days with all the uncertainty over whether he's coming back or not coming back?
Yeah, I mean, I owe Steve everything. He's been like a second father to me since I've been here as far as just giving me guidance day in and day out. I think people realize, they see what Steve did in those Chicago years, but what they might not understand is that he had a similar journey. He was a little bit of a journeyman for a while. He didn't know where his role and where his minutes would come in during games. And so Steve probably got the broadest spectrum of anybody that's ever played in the league, from announcing to front office stuff to coaching to being a journeyman to being a knockdown shooter for a championship team. So when you need a level-headed opinion, someone to bounce anything off of, he's the guy I go to. So just grateful for our relationship, what he's done for me. I can't say enough about him. It'd be an honor to have him back here. I think they probably feel the same way. We'll see how it plays out.
Have you been able to talk to the front office about your future here and anything like that?
Yeah, those conversations are private. A lot of things to play out in the off season, and it's not even the off season for a large number of teams still. So, we'll see where things go. But grateful for my time here, and would love to be back in some capacity. But you just don't know how those things will play out. Too many things to unfold at the moment. But those conversations are private for us.